growing up back then in the 50s and in the 60s, in the plantation camps, that even within the plantation camps, there were sections for the Filipinos, there are sections for the Japanese, for the Portuguese, and in some camps they were all intermingled also. And the racial identity was very definite. But because of intermarriage, intersocialization, things have kind of changed now. It's a blending, it's a melding. However, I can tell you that a couple of my brothers experienced discrimination because the girls that they were dating were of a different ethnic background, and the parents of those girls really frowned upon the relationship and even tried to end the relationship. Community is small, and being an immigrant community, they always had social events where everybody came together, and it was a social event where everybody would maybe even slaughter a few pigs in the backyard, and maybe even kill a few chickens and defeather them. And it would be an all-day process of preparing the food that was perhaps in some cases, even more important than the dinner that night.
What were they celebrating often?
Almost anything. Almost anything. You know, that was the connection for the immigrant community. Well, you had some of the, as you mentioned, the single immigrant workers. And some of them, after 10 years, they usually came on a 10-year contract. And after 10 years, they had their return trip paid for by the plantation. And so some of them would go back to the Philippines, and some of them would stay. If they were single, most likely they went back to the Philippines, collected their Social Security pension, and resided there very comfortably. But then in the case of my parents, they were married in the Philippines, and they came here, and they raised their family here. In your case, Tata Aldo was a single man for many years, and at some point later in his life, he decided he wanted a family, and went back and met your grandmother, Nana Martina, and they got married, and she was what is called ordered